Do you get stressed out traveling during the holidays? Does the thought of being gathered with a huge group of extended family, or even all the preparation it takes to get a holiday meal together, add extra stress to your life and make you worry about your baby's schedule, your milk supply, breastfeeding? How is your baby going to handle all of the extra noise and attention? Well, I'm putting this podcast out one day before Thanksgiving so that you can listen as you travel or as you pack your bags or as you prepare for some busy days to come. And I just want to take a moment as a lactation professional and as a parent to give you some reassurances about ways that you can make these days of travel and the next month leading all the way through the New Year's just a little bit easier for you and your little ones. So let's get into it. First of all, I just want to name that as hard as it is, given various family dynamics and given the expectations that are put on us as the parents of young children who people often want to see, that you get to decide how busy or how filled your schedule becomes during this holiday season. And for many of us who are used to catering to everyone else and making sure that everyone else is happy, it is so hard to say, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out, or that doesn't sound like very much fun with a couple of toddlers or with my nursling. And so I'm not going to attend that one. Or you may be somebody who thrives on the social interaction and is excited about the holiday events and going to see Santa and seeing family members you might not see ordinarily. Whatever brings you joy and fills your cup, you should do that. And if you do feel obligated to spend time with family, because I know it's not as simple as just setting the boundaries for the things we want to do, because many of us feel like we want to foster relationships with family members who don't always understand our way of parenting or the things that we have chosen for our family, but still want to continue those relationships. Just know that you still get to make choices for yourself and for your family, and you don't have to make everybody happy. So that is the first thing I want to remind you of, that you can choose to make people happy. You can come to some compromises. You can fully set your own boundaries and only do the things that you want to do. It is up to you, but you do not have to frazzle yourself and your young children in order to please everyone. When I first returned to work, I had no idea how I was going to manage going to work, handling drop-offs and pickups, and doing all the other duties I needed to do, like get dinner on the table. If you are in this situation, I've got a solution for you. Go to feastandfettle.com, where you can select from a menu of delicious options and have home-cooked meals delivered right to your front door. Imagine taking meal planning off your plate, taking grocery shopping off your plate for those dinners, and knowing that all you have to do is pick up your baby, get home, and heat and serve meals that you have selected for your family. If you live in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and now Maine, go to feastandfettle.com and use my code MILK, M-I-L-K, to get $30 off your first order. You've got nothing to lose. The second thing I want to discuss is traveling with young children and babies. It is really hard for those of us who have struggled to maintain nursing relationships with our kids, or who have children who need to nurse all the time, or who are exclusively pumping and are always looking for places to be able to pump, or transferring milk from point A to point B. These things are difficult. So if you are in this boat, know that there is help for you, that you can nurse anywhere and everywhere that feels comfortable for you, and that your first priority is allowed to be feeding your baby and feeling comfortable. So if that means nursing or pumping in a public place because that is the only way that you can fit it in before your flight takes off, or at a rest stop if you're driving, or even at a relative's house who does not understand why we should be able to feed our babies anywhere and everywhere, that is totally your choice. If you are someone who would rather go find a quiet place, find a quiet gate in the airport, find a pumping room or one of those little pumping enclosures that I'm seeing pop up more and more in airports for either nursing or for pumping, that is also your prerogative. And you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. I know for many of us, especially if our babies are a little bit older, it is so hard to get a baby who would rather be looking around at the world to feed. So if you need to ask your hosts to make sure that you have a quiet place where you can feed your baby, then do that. Don't be afraid to assert yourself and to ask for what you need. If you would rather nurse anywhere and everywhere, you get to decide how much you educate other people. So if they're asking about your breastfeeding journey, if they're asking about how nursing is going, if they are asking about why you can't go off in private, you get to choose what you say to them. So if all you say is, this is the decision I have made for me and my baby, and it is best for us, and I'm not talking anymore about it, then you can say that. Or if you're feeling willing to educate them about why your toddler is still nursing, or about why you can't wait a little while to feed the baby, or about why somebody else can't feed the baby because then you would have to pump at that same time, and it's much easier just to feed them yourself. Or if you're being questioned about why you aren't feeding directly from the body and being told that it's better than exclusive pumping and that that's the choice you should be making too. Whatever feedback you are getting, you can decide how much to engage. So it is not your job to educate every single person around you about baby feeding. If you choose to do so, amazing. But as we know, when people have opinions, they aren't often easily swayed. And so don't feel like you need to educate every single person about why you are making the choices you are making. The next thing I want to discuss is that even though our babies and our toddlers are young, stepping out of the routine is also difficult for them. Even if they aren't able to name that, even if they aren't able to say it out loud with their own little voices, sometimes their behavior and their patterns will change when we have traveled. So even if you do your best to stick to the nap routine, to stick to the same bedtime routine, just being in a different environment away from what is normal may mean that your baby or your toddler reacts to that by being fussier or by nursing more or by waking up more frequently in the night. This is normal. You may find that your breastfeeding baby or toddler wants to breastfeed way more frequently because you are their safe space. This is how they connect with you. It is how they feel safe. It is how they feel comforted. And so if you find that during the holidays, your baby or toddler is nursing way more frequently, even during the hustle and bustle of ordinary life at home, for some of us, the pace really does pick up during this time because we have more events to attend. We are busy making sure we prepare for the holidays. We sometimes, in an effort to become more connected to our families during the holidays, disconnect from our immediate family as we start to feel the stress and the pressure of making everything perfect and beautiful. So if your toddler or your baby is responding to that, just know that it is a signal. They are communicating to you their needs. You may or may not be able to meet every single need at once, but it's not our job to solve all of our baby's problems, to stop all the crying. It's just our job to be there with them through the storm. In this short little episode, I just want you to know that you are not alone. If you are struggling during the holidays, if you're feeling worn out as you're with a group of people, if your baby is fussier than usual or you can't attend all the events that you used to, just think about all the other parents out there who are feeding their babies from their bodies and know that you are not alone. Other people are there having those same experiences. Picture them nursing their babies. Picture them choosing when to say yes and when to say no. And if you are struggling with any aspect of feeding your baby, remember to think about what you would say to a close friend. How would you talk to them? How would you remind them of what a good parent they are? And then say those things to yourself. Because when things feel more difficult during busy times like the holidays, we often tend to feel like it's our fault or to feel guilty or to feel like we need to do more. In reality, we often need to do less. If you would like to come up with a holiday plan to help figure out how you are going to manage transporting milk or feeding your baby while traveling, or perhaps you have a road trip and you're needing to figure out what that is going to look like between pumping and breastfeeding and bottle feeding and all the things that are extra when you have a baby, I would be happy to problem solve this with you. Reach out to me at lo@quabbinbirthservices.com. You can go to my website, which is always linked in the show notes, to contact me through the website. And I would be so happy to schedule a virtual consultation with you to help you figure this out. I can't wait to hear from you.